Hey everybody, Tim Lewis with TimLewisSports.com here. We're talking fantasy football week 9. Before I get too far ahead of myself, for all of you who are concerned about the Bananas, they are back this week. We're talking buys first. Denver, Jacksonville, San Francisco, St. Louis, Tennessee, and Washington are all off this week. Like I say every single week, keep that in mind when you're setting your starting lineups. The juggling act continues in Philadelphia. Michael Vick is healthy and is ready to start this weekend against Indianapolis. Might take him a little while to find consistency in the passing game, but as we know, he can use his legs and run like a madman. The Colts' run defense ranks 28th in the NFL, so Michael Vick, I expect to put up some decent numbers in his return. There aren't too many wild and crazy injuries to record at quarterback, at least that happened last week. Brett Favre and Matt Hasselbeck are both listed as questionable. I expect both of them to play this weekend. The big question is, do you really want them in your fantasy football lineup? Favre does have some value against Arizona, though, if he does play. If he doesn't, obviously, there's no value there. It's hard to go against Phillip Rivers this week. The top pass offense against the worst pass defense in Houston. Start the other stars, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. You know who you should be playing and who you shouldn't be playing at this point. I like Eli Manning this week. He's interception prone, but he's up against a weak Seattle defense. Carson Palmer could also fare well against Pittsburgh as well. Looking at the numbers, the Steelers' defense statistically doesn't really stack up with the rest of the league. The sleeper I'm going with is Tampa Bay's Josh Freeman. It seems like the kid is getting confident more and more every single week. Bucks face Atlanta as well. Their pass defense is not all that hot. They allow 260 passing yards per game. So Josh Freeman, my sleeper in week 9. Aren't too many new injuries to report at running back either. Felix Jones in Dallas is questionable, but he is expected to play. Joseph Adai is still questionable as well after missing last week's game against Houston. Mike Hart played well in his absence, but he hurt his ankle in the fourth quarter against the Texans. So keep an eye on the running back situation in Indy. That could leave Donald Brown to be the go-to guy this week against Philly. DeAngelo Williams also still listed as questionable. Jonathan Stewart sucked as his replacement. I thought he'd be a gold mine last week, but was terrible. 14 carries for a whopping 30 yards against the Rams, of all teams as well. Carolina gets New Orleans this week. Now, believe it or not, New Orleans is actually a more favorable matchup for running backs than St. Louis is. So if DeAngelo Williams is out, maybe give Jonathan Stewart another chance. If he fails this time, I know I'm going to give up on him. Speaking of the Saints, as we're talking about Carolina playing New Orleans, watch their running back situation. It's being said that Reggie Bush and Pierre Thomas both might be out until week 11 after the Saints' week 10 bye. Chris Ivory suffered a mild concussion last week. That would leave Liddell Betts and Julius Jones to get the brunt of the work. They are saying Ivory should play, but if he doesn't, I would lean more towards Julius Jones. It seems like he's getting more carries than Betts. Adrian Peterson is going to be huge against Arizona. Then again, everyone is. Matt Forte should put up good numbers as well this week. Michael Turner, LaShawn McCoy, LaDainian Tomlinson all have favorable matchups as well. Now, you never know who's going to be the star in Kansas City, Jamal Charles or Thomas Jones. I almost forgot his name there, I'll be honest with you. But I shouldn't forget his name because either one or both could be big this week against Oakland. I talked about Michael Vick earlier. It should help his cause that Deshaun Jackson is expected to play. He missed a week with a concussion and then had the bye week to recover as well. They are saying he should be a go this week. Deion Branch has a hamstring injury. Donald Driver, an issue with his quad. Both are listed as questionable. With Driver possibly out, Greg Jennings will be the top target no matter what in Green Bay, so he should be big against a terrible Dallas defense. What happened to the Cowboys? I know no one has that answer. I know I don't. No one does. They're terrible. Their defense is horrendous. Jordy Nelson was active for the Packers last week. He had 5 catches for 55 yards. I don't think he's someone you want to jump after if you're in a 10-team league or anything smaller than that. But if you're in a deeper league, 12 to 14 teams, you might want to take a look at Jordy Nelson because he did play quite a bit with Donald Driver out. And again, that's only if Donald Driver is out again this week. San Diego's receiving core is still dinged up, so watch the situation there. The Chargers Should be able to move the ball with ease, again, like I've mentioned, against Houston this week. Hakeem Nicks, getting ahead of myself. So whoever plays in San Diego, we'll get to Hakeem Nicks in a second. Whoever plays in San Diego against that Houston defense should be big. Cincinnati has a favorable matchup this week, so watch the T.O. Ocho show. Terrell Owens, Ocho Cinco could both have decent games. It might just be one or the other. If it's going to be one or the other, I might lean a little bit more towards Terrell Owens, but either one could be big. Giants wide receivers. Here comes Hakeem Nicks. Giants take on Seattle this week. Hakeem Nicks, the top target for New York, but again, Steve Smith, Mario Manningham, those guys have also been very active in the offense there as well. Seattle's Mike Williams bruised his knee last week against Oakland. He did come back and play in the second half. Only had one catch, though. He should bounce back against the Giants this week. Mike Williams of Tampa Bay, not a bad play this week either. It was only one game, and it was against the worst pass defense in the NFL, but Jacob Tamme appears to be legit. He had 6 receptions for 64 yards and a touchdown for Indianapolis. Grab him if he's available. Antonio Gates against the Houston pass defense. I know I've picked on Houston this entire video blog, but their pass defense is the worst in the NFL, so I expect Antonio Gates to explode. He's the only real legit target for the San Diego Chargers. Keep an eye on Zach Miller's status. He hurt his foot, apparently was on crutches at practice on Monday. Listed as questionable, but he is expected to play. Keep an eye on that situation. Todd Heap is also listed as questionable, but does expect to play on Sunday. New England has the second worst pass defense in the NFL. Their record wouldn't show it. Could benefit the rested Ben Watson and the Cleveland Browns offense as well. I know Cincinnati faces Pittsburgh, but again, statistically, the Pittsburgh's pass defense isn't all that hot. Jermaine Gresham could be a good tight end to play this week if you're looking for someone. How can you not like the Packers or Jets defense after what you saw last week? 9-0 game when they played against each other. I'd give both those teams the go again this week. The Chicago Bears should be decent as well. Now, oddly, Carolina is one of the worst teams in the NFL, but their defense is actually pretty solid. It's their offense that stinks. The Lions defense actually has some fantasy football value as well. A sleeper again. I'm going to call him a sleeper again this week, like I did last week, taking on the Jets this week. Jets offense obviously had some trouble against Green Bay. Detroit's defense has actually played pretty solid, so could be a good matchup there. Looking at the numbers, New England doesn't have the best defense in the league, like I mentioned, but they should do pretty well against Cleveland this week. Not real high on the Cleveland Browns, even though maybe I should be. Colts defense scored on Monday night. Not high on those guys at all. Also don't have much faith in Baltimore, although they are coming off of a bye that could help their cause, but I think I might be giving them a little too much credit there. I'm always open to all of your questions. I'd love to know, answer anything that you need. If you're talking tight ends, if you're talking running back, if you're talking defense. I'll even answer questions about kickers, even though I don't care for them that much. Fire your questions away at me. I love to help you out. I also want to mention I'm open to feedback as well. What can I do to make these video blogs better? What do you want to hear different? What do you like about them? I'm open to all your feedback. There are several ways to get in touch with me. You can leave a comment on my website, timlewissports.com. You can also leave a comment on YouTube, depending on where you're watching this. You can also get in touch with me on Twitter at Lewis Sports. I know I spell it out for you every week, but I'm going to spell it out again this week. Lewis Sports, not Louis. Lewis Sports on Twitter. You can also get in touch with me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Tim Lewis Sports. And the way a lot of people have been getting in touch with me is via email. That's tim@timlewissports.com. And as always, the last couple weeks, I'm going to encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well so you can be the first to see my videos when they're published. I'm hoping to do some more video blogs as things slow down for me a little bit. It's a very busy time of year with college basketball starting, college football, you have the professional stuff, and we even cover some high school stuff as well. We have high school state playoffs. It's a little wild and crazy in my life, but I'm willing to answer all your questions, would love your feedback, and I want to get more involved with video blogs as well. I think that's it for me this week. Have a great week. Good luck. And again, I'm open to all your questions. Take care.